Hello, once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends. The DoLLyROTS are Kelly Ogden on vocals and bass, and Luis Cabezas, which means head in Spanish, on guitar, with Justin McGrath on live drums. Their most recent release is Down the Rabbit Hole, a 24-track collection of B-sides, rarities, and cover songs with a DoLLyROTS twist. The diverse collection features songs from throughout the band's 20-year history, remastered and including previously unheard tracks and alternate takes. The band recently released a new 7-inch limited edition pink vinyl release in partnership with indie label juggernaut Cleopatra Records, our friends. The DoLLyROTS transform a soft rock classic, Alone Again, naturally, originally recorded in 1972 by Gilbert O'Sullivan, into a fun, fist-pumping punk rock anthem. That track is backed with an original song entitled That's Not Even All, which highlights the band's double threat as both arrangers and writers. The trio has hit the Billboard Heatseekers chart multiple times, been featured in movies, television, and have shared stages with some of punk's biggest names. And they're currently working on a new album to be released in 2023. Please welcome lead singer, bassist, and songwriter Kelly Ogden of my new favorite group, the DoLLyROTS, to Interviewing the Legends.
No way.
I love you guys.
All the bands.
You guys are so cool, man. You're so full of energy. You're playing the music that really is not around anymore, and I love, and we miss it, you know? Bands like Letters to Cleo, which you remind me a lot like her, and you guys are awesome.
Yeah, that's the music we grew up on. That's where a lot of our inspiration comes from. So, I think that's just what comes out of us when we sit down and we try to be original.
Well, it's cool because, I mean, you're a genuine writing machine. I'm telling you, man. You guys spit out songs left and right, and then hey, we'll do some covers, and you make it your own, which is so cool.
Thank you.
First of all, you guys went to New College of Florida.
Yes.
Which is 10 minutes from where I live, by the way.
Oh, wow.
I'm in Bradenton.
Funny. Yeah. Yeah.
What did you guys what did you guys study when you were there?
I graduated with a biology degree, and Luis has a neurobiology degree.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah. We learned a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah. So I guess when you retire from the music business, you can go ahead and get in the medical field or be a scientist or something, huh?
People keep asking when I'm going to be a teacher, and I was like, they will never listen to me. All they have to do is Google my name, and it's hopeless. Like, there's no way.
My daughter and my son-in-law, they're both teachers here in Florida, in Bradenton.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And the cool thing, you guys got a great story because you guys actually met in 8th grade. Is that true?
Yeah, we did. Luis swears that his first day of middle school at my middle school in Land O'Lakes, Florida, he saw me. I was on the basketball court, and he thought, I'm going to marry her. And it took a while, but eventually he won me over. And yeah, actually, today we're celebrating the anniversary of leaving to go to New College.
Oh, wow.
And we moved in together that first day. I'm not sure if our parents know that yet.
Yeah.
But so 25 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, kind of wild.
Now, your parents, where do they live?
So my mom and sister, we're right near downtown Tampa. And my mom and sister live in Channelside, which is the other side of downtown Tampa.
Yeah.
And then Luis's parents are in Clearwater. So that's the reason we left LA. We had a long-term plan. It was move to LA, be a band. And eventually when we were ready, which still not ready to have kids, we would come back to Florida so they could grow up around family and all that. So we moved back right before my dad passed away. I mean, we got a couple years with my dad, and so that was awesome. And yeah, now our kids get to grow up with family. Lewis's little sister, she's a doctor. She studied at Duke, and
Really?
yeah, she decided to come back home for her residency, which made us all super excited. We were all trying to be like, you don't have to do it, because she could stay at Duke. That was her other main option. And she picked here, and we were all so excited. We didn't even know what to do. So now my kids have, my sister and Lewis's sister here too. And it's just awesome.
That's incredible. Man, to
Yeah.
have a doctor in the family, that's huge.
Oh yeah, that's pretty useful. And
Yeah.
Lewis's parents don't feel so bad about him, like, blowing that whole neurobio degree for music now that she's a
My wife's a nurse. Yeah.
oh, cool.
Where is she practice medicine where is
She's
she?
at USF and Tampa General now.
Oh, okay, at USF. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is awesome. You're my neighbor.
Yeah, I don't always get interviewed by somebody that's a drive away. Could have done it in person.
Exactly. Yeah, I cover all the shows at Ruth Eckerd,
Oh yeah.
the Capitol. I do the Hard Rock, and I just covered Ann Wilson. She was at the Hard Rock, and I interviewed her. We did a Zoom interview together. Yeah, so yeah, it's a great place for music. It really is. Yeah, New College, man. That's kind of an expensive school too, isn't it?
Not for us, it was free. It's actually part of the state system.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so our parents had done Florida prepaid,
Right.
which was awesome. And then we both had scholarships. There was, I don't know if it still exists, but there's a scholarship from the Florida Lottery
Right.
called Bright Futures.
Bright Futures, yeah.
And so we both got those scholarships. And Lewis also got honor society, or I don't know, some kind of scholarship. So fortunately for our families, it didn't cost anything, and we don't have any student debt. So
That's great. Unfortunately, my kids do. My daughter got Bright Futures. She went to FSU, and my son did University of Phoenix online, which is a lot more expensive than attending a college, and they're both paying, up the nose now, which is a shame.
Yeah, but New College, it's a really great state system school, so it
Right.
it cost any more than going to USF would.
Yeah. How'd you guys come up with the name DoLLyROTS?
So we were sitting right down the road from you in our first apartment. We lived in some like duplexes on Old Bradenton Road.
Right.
And we were like, all right, we were called No Chef at the time. And then, we were making some personnel changes. Our bass player didn't want to stick around. He was a little bit more serious. He's a lawyer now. It makes sense. He's the guy that we wrote Jackie Chan with. So our first album we wrote with him. He worked at a place called Pleasures on the Tamiami Trail. That might still be there. I'm not sure. But he liked the life he was living. He didn't want to quit his night job for rock and roll. And so I started playing bass guitar and singing lead. And we were like, we should probably change the name. It's kind of a different band now. And we loved the name, like Bikini Kill. We loved bands that were like girl group bands, or group like the Ronettes, the Crystals, the Chiffons, and then there's the Ramones. It had to be the somethings,
right?
And we were like, well, it should be a name that describes the band. And at the time, I was super young. I was like 19 or 20 when we started, and my voice was really high. I had no idea how to sing or do anything, pretty much anything in the whole wide world. And I sounded super sweet, and the music was a little bit more rough around the edges. And back then, our second drummer was a metal drummer, and so he was pretty aggressive. The music was very aggressive, and so we needed something that was a juxtaposition that would describe it. So we had two piles of words, a bunch of sweet, gooey candy words, and then a bunch of like kind of rougher words. And we kept pulling out, different combinations. And what I recall is we didn't get one. We did get a few like Bubble Gun, and I'm trying to think like other rejected names that are now actual band names, which is funny. But from what I remember, we were driving around in the rain and we were still trying to think of names, and I was like, Lolly Rot, like Dolly Pop, Bomb Pops was one that was rejected. And then we got to DoLLYROTS. So we were like, that's it. But it was a very scientific way to come about a name. But we also wanted it to be something that we could Google. It was the early days of the internet, but we knew it was going to be important to be able to find it.
Yeah. But you know, your music is so cool because you know it's punkish, it's bubblegum, it's top 40, it's all those combinations, which I love, you know, and everybody loves it. I saw some of the comments. There were some few housewives that say, "Oh, we leave the DoLLYROTS all day on the radio, and
Awesome.
you know, clean the house and do whatever." It's so great. And a lot of your songs, I was a top 40 DJ back in the late 70s.
Oh, cool.
And New Wave was big. You know, I was playing the Cars and also Donna Summer and disco and all that stuff. But a lot of your songs would have been big hits back then, you know, especially.
Long time.
Yeah, I know. Life has changed. You know, radio has changed, which, you know, it's a shame because a lot of your music would have definitely been on the radio. And imagine if MTV was still around, you guys would have been all over it.
Fun. Yeah.
Right? Because your videos and your music is definitely made for MTV. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I first noticed you guys. I was covering Joan Jett in Orlando. She was at Busch Gardens, and I covered the show and I did the review, and they put my review on her website, and I noticed Blackheart Records. That's when I first noticed you guys. You know, they're promoting you. Yeah. What was that all about? Well, you know, being with Joan, and
It was
a good
amazing.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. The never meet your heroes thing did not apply there. It was one of the best things ever to happen for us. We had been on Warped Tour that summer, and we had almost finished our second album called Because I'm Awesome. And our initial label, Lookout Records, we were on Panic Button, which was a subsidiary of Lookout was falling apart and no more. And so we needed a record label. And so we had some like 5-song demos pressed up of what would become Because I'm Awesome. And the second to last day, we gave a few away. We gave one to Laura Jane Grace of Against Me, gave one to Fat Mike of No Effects, and I gave one to Joan Jett. And I figured, whatever, might as well. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? They'll be like, "Oh, that dumb DoLLYROTS girl gave me a and so that night, my drummer Amy and I, we rode the No Effects bus to Salt Lake City, which was quite a life experience. And pretty much Fat Mike made Amy quit the band and made me reconsider continuing. Then we got home, and about a month later, Blackheart Records called, and they were like, "Hey, we listened to the CD." And we're like, "What? This is crazy." They actually listened to the CD. Like, the CD made it from Joan's hand on the side of the stage to the bus to the label, which is just, it goes to show you that they actually do care about music.
Amazing. Yeah, good.
And they're like, "We'd love to put this out." And that was the beginning of, you know, doing a couple great records together. And you know, we met so many amazing Joan Jett fans who liked us that we maybe wouldn't have found without that experience. We got to see how a more functioning indie label was run, which was very helpful because
very cool.
We do a lot of our own releases now. And you know, pretty much the only reason we left was a lot of people were doing crowdsourcing. You know, it was the early days of Kickstarter and all of that. And you know, back to the long-term plan, we had success in licensing and stuff, and we knew that if we were going to be able to be musicians and have a family, we were going to have to figure out how to own some of our own music and maybe keep a little bit more of our own money. And so we started doing that, and our fans came right along. They have blown our minds at every point. I mean, I think we've made probably 6 albums that way now, or at least done like 6 big releases. And so, you know, that's kind of where we veered off after that. And, you know, then we were friends with everybody at Underground Garage, you know, just after meeting them with Joan Jett and Blackheart Records. And they approached us about putting out just a random 7-inch, and then we got to know them better. And you know, they're definitely a musician's label. They understand what it's like to be a musician and play music, and the business side of it as well. So we've
Right.
been happy releasing albums with them, and one-off singles, and the thing with Cleopatra was just awesome. It was so funny. They're great over there too.
They
So it's
are. Hmm.
been nice to have a little bit more freedom, and it's nobody's ever been creatively stifling to us as a band,
Good.
except when we were trying to do the major label thing. That was definitely storybook, exactly the way it goes. Or not storybook, textbook is the opposite of storybook. um but yeah, our experiences have been really, really good overall. We've learned from everything along the way, and it's led us to where we are now, which got no complaints.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Kenny Laguna. He was on
Yeah,
the show. He's a good guy. He's
yeah,
got a great past.
yeah,
A lot of bubblegum music that he was involved with back in the '60s and stuff. And you actually played on stage with Joan too, didn't you?
yeah. We did a
Yeah.
couple times. South by Southwest, I think, was when we had a big Blackheart showcase. That was really fun. All the
Right.
bands played like all together. It was a Blackheart super group kind of thing. That was really cool. That was the day that I got my first Thunderbird bass guitar too. It was a gift from Gibson for that showcase. And I had always played Fender. I had a Music Master, and then I had a jazz bass, and I had a P bass. And at that point I was playing the P bass, and I picked up that Thunderbird and I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But now
I saw a video of you in the studio opening up a box. Was that it? The bass guitar? Or was that a different guitar?
that was probably a different one, but that was one
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. You look cool with the bass, by the way.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. You're the new Susie Quattro.
I play guitar. I'm just like, my hands are too big. Like I can't do it. So little.
Yeah. It is big, isn't it? It's a big instrument. Yeah. Well, here's how I got a hold of you. Okay. I interviewed Gilbert O'Sullivan not that long ago. And then I
Yeah.
noticed you did the cover tune. And I told Gilbert about your cover tune. And as a matter of fact, Dana, I sent her, did you see it? The
I did.
interview. Okay. And me mentioning
And he
about
just
you guys to Gilbert O'Sullivan.
kind of make the strangest face. And I was like, uh-oh. And then at least he didn't say anything. So it was really funny.
Yeah, I know. It's very cool.
Yeah.
And you do a Melanie tune as well, brand new key. I know Melanie. She used to live here in Florida.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've actually talked to her. Our fans, it's so cute. That is from Melanie right there on my wall. Yeah.
Oh,
For
okay,
people
cool.
watching. It's a signed record on my
Right.
studio. And one of those little singles back there is brand new key. But yeah, Melanie's awesome. She loves what we did to her song. So
Good, good, good.
yeah.
Do you know the history behind that song?
Yes, I do. And when we go to England, it's really, really funny
Hmm.
because they have a different version that they know. And then,
Yeah.
they're British and they like to complain about things. And, every time we play it at the end of the show, I have at least a couple people come over. They're like, why did you have to ruin that song and change the words? It's so much better. Because in England, it's a song called Brand New Combine Harvester. It's a farming, it's a
Really?
piece of equipment. Yeah, it was done by this band called the Wurtzels, and
Huh.
they assume that I stole the song and changed the words. And I'm like, no, I promise. What you hear is the other version. But it's kind of cool when we play in, I guess, the Midlands, like Birmingham.
Hmm.
They do this thing, which is in that cover version where they go ooh are like throughout different parts of the song, and
Yeah.
and so they do that in our version, which is just kind of trippy and weird. It always screws me up too.
I love your version. I really do. A lot of people. I love Melanie. And I love all their music. But there are people out there that think that song's kind of, a little sappy. And which I always cringe when it's a great song, man. But
I
now your touch, wow. You know,
say,
now they're going to look at it in a different way. Which is cool. And your cover of "Happy Together" was very cool too.
Oh, I love that
I know
one.
those
Yeah.
guys too. Flo and
Oh,
Eddie.
I haven't met them. I don't know if they like it, but yeah, that was a fun one. We grew up in, Tampa Bay area, and
Yeah.
I went to school in Sarasota, as we already discussed. And I used to work in this little flower shop. It was right across from the entrance to New College in Bradenton.
Right.
I don't know if it's still there, but it was this big flower shop with all these orchids, and it used to be, I guess, a mechanic's garage. It has those big double doors that open.
Right.
And so that was one of my jobs while I was in college. And we just listened to oldies music all day. And God, what's the oldie station there? It probably doesn't exist anymore.
Oh gosh, I forgot now.
K Earth 101?
What is it?
K Earth?
No, and it's actually it's promoted from the school, the school with the medical school. And as a matter of fact, they're all in my building here. What's the name of the medical school here? The dental and med school.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Let me
forgot.
see. No, it was K Earth 101, but
Are
I
they
don't think
still around?
anymore.
Huh.
Maybe not. K Earth 10. Oh, wait. It says School of. Oh, it went away. Yeah, I'm Googling at the same. Yeah. Anyway, I used to sit and, I listened to oldies all day, every day, because
Really?
that's what, the owner listened to. And I
Yep.
grew up listening to, you know, like all the oldies, like, everything from the 20s to the 40s with my grandparents. And then my mom and dad loved top 40 radio. So I woke up with Casey Kasem every Saturday morning. And,
Yep.
then the 90s happened. And then Luis taught me to play guitar, and he refused to teach me anything, but, pretty much Kurt Cobain and, grunge and punk rock. And that was it. So,
Yeah.
so that's why, like, a lot of our covers are older songs that, we're just trying to bring back into the light, especially for younger people,
Right.
kind of understand our origins a bit. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, this is something we like, go listen.
Exactly. It makes me mad that the younger generation, I mean, they got everything at their disposal. They got the phone, they can look up people, and why not, learn and understand that the music back in the 60s and 70s, which was so great,
Yeah.
they need
I mean,
to.
I've always loved listening to music from different eras. I feel like it takes you to different times, and
Yeah.
it's a whole different mood. Like in our kitchen, we usually listen to like Benny Goodman, Jack Teagarden, a lot of
Way
like
back.
cool old jazz, and to
Yeah.
my kids, that's like the old fashioned cooking music. You can just change the tone of things so easily by changing the era of music. It's like a movie or a
Yep.
soundtrack, and I feel like when you just listen to what you're fed,
hmm
you're stuck in the present, and you're stuck, I don't know, you're just stuck in one place. And so
Yep.
I kind of like music to move us to different places.
Yeah, I love big band. I love Sinatra. I love
Yeah.
jazz. You know, um, what was I going to say? I just lost it here for a minute. That's what happens when you get older.
Oh, I know.
You haven't
What
played a
will I
Beatle track yet, right? You haven't done an old Beatle song, or
We haven't. It's
huh?
obvious our favorite bands, but it's hard to cover the Beatles. I don't know. We did a stage it.
Right.
So, once we long-term plan back to that. It's so funny. I've never done this in an interview, but going back in time, we knew that if we were going to have kids, we were going to need to expand things a little bit. So we started playing streaming shows online. And there's this website called Stage It, where
Right. Sure.
platform's already there.
Yep.
We just play the show, and our fans have logins, and it's pay what you want, super easy.
hmm
And we do themed ones all the time. So we actually did an entire Beatles show where we learned a whole bunch of Beatles songs. And we did Beatles, we've done Ramones, we did Green Day, we did Sir. Obviously we do DoLLyROTS songs. We still do these shows. When we had to cancel our March 2020 tour due to the wonderful pandemic, we decided we were going to do a stage it every week and we did it for 11 or 12 weeks, and that was crazy. It was a lot of fun, but it was crazy because we were home with our kids, and
Right.
we weren't even seeing our families at that point because we didn't want to get them sick, just in case. And so the only times that Luis and I could practice or work was at night. We're still trying to like fix our sleep cycle because we're completely nocturnal mostly at this point. And we have to also be completely diurnal, which means we just don't sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the kids had to be at all those shows. So it was wild. Our fans got to watch our kids grow, and our chickens. We were one of those families that got chickens at the early pandemic days. And so everybody got to see how the chickens were growing. We'd bring the chickens in, and it was a lot of fun. It was cool. But yeah, we did learn a whole bunch of Beatles songs for that. I've already forgotten them, I'm sure, but
imagine a punk version of Yesterday and Let It Be, because they're slower songs and you can jazz it up,
Yeah, we did those.
Did you? Yeah. I could see that happening. That'd be so cool. I love watching your videos when you're in the studio, And I got to mention, your engineering of your albums and producing is incredible, man. Who's responsible for the engineering?
Almost, it's about 98% of the time, John Fields.
Incredible. He does a great job.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the engineering since our self-titled album,
right,
which was our 4th album, has been Luis.
Right.
We actually just, as we write, we demo, and a lot of those demo tracks end up being, what we put on the album. So we just, now that we have kids and other things that we do, we're a little bit more busy.
Right.
So we try to get as much done before we bring it to John. And so typically at this point, all the basic tracks are recorded. We've got bass, guitar, vocals, a lot of vocal harmonies, and then we bring it all to John, and he makes it all wonderful and makes it sound as it should be. He adds keyboards, and then we do drums last.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's there. And sometimes we'll try to record live in the studio when we get to him. And sometimes those takes end up replacing the demo takes. And then sometimes there's just the magic of the demo that we can never ever meet. And that's so.
Well, it sounds like you probably do a lot of your music in one take, maybe, or 2 takes, because is that true or not really?
Yeah, there's just not a lot of time anymore. I don't know. Like, we feel we're more, the type of music we make is definitely more about the energy and the spontaneity and the feeling and vibe than the technical merits. I mean, we're not playing anything complicated.
Right.
And, if there's a flub or a missed note, it's not going to hurt the song. It doesn't matter. It's more about how the take feels. And so we really do go on the first or second take a lot of the time. And that's what ends up on the album.
Yeah. I listened to punk. I went to school in Fort Lauderdale for broadcasting. And back then, punk was big, the Dead Kennedys and, all those types of bands, the Sex Pistols, the Clash, everybody was out. And we played around with punk. Me and a buddy of mine, Jerry, he wrote the music. I played guitar. We called ourselves the Drugs.
Nice. Very funky.
We did some great songs back then. I told him we should have gone into a recording studio. He says, nah, he was, but it's fun to do that kind of music. It really is. But you guys are my favorite punk band. I mean,
amazing.
You write, your lyrics are incredible. I really enjoy your lyrics. I don't know how you do it. What is your songwriting process? How do you do it?
Typically it starts with a guitar riff, and then, we just grunt along until we get some hint of a word that, falls out of space and time into our brains, and then just kind of build the song from there. And sometimes the magic happens and sometimes it doesn't. And, over the pandemic, we didn't write very much at all. I think we just couldn't really get there, and it didn't feel right. We started tons and tons of songs, and we finished like a handful. So we're back to writing. It feels better now. We've been out on the road. We've been traveling our asses off. We've seen a lot of old and new faces, and we feel a little bit more inspired now. We were just kind of in survival mode for about a year and a half, 2 years, and it sucked for creativity. But not good. So
musicians were really hit hard because you guys are antsy. You want to get out on the road, you want to perform in front of an audience, you want to get in the studio. It was tough for everybody.
External inspiration, nobody wants to hear the songs that would come out of just me sitting in a house for a year and a half. That's not DoLLyROTS music.
But you know what, all the bands that I interview, all their new albums, it's about that period. They're it's kind of dark.
Pandemic record. We're gonna do a regular DoLLyROTS.
I just want to mention the Down the Rabbit Hole, which I love. I gave it 5 stars, man. I think it was great. I love the engineering on the album. Every track on the first, it's 2 discs. The first one is all written by you guys. The second one, they're cover tunes. And there's a lot of music on there. So
the craziest thing about that is that album, it spans 20 years. Like, some of those songs recorded like while I was just holding my laptop, singing into the built-in microphone on the laptop. And then Luis would mix it, and it just doesn't really matter. We've recorded all sorts of ways, and a lot of those were songs that we were just inspired to record on a day, like the Tom Petty song American Girl, right? That's on there. And we recorded that one because Tom Petty died, and we were really, really sad. And so Luis went out to the studio and he created an instrumental track. And then that night I went in and I sang it, and we put it out the next day, and we put it on Bandcamp, and it was just, pay what you want. We donated, nice chunk of money to, it was Midnight Mission, which is a homeless resource center on Skid Row in LA.
Good for you.
And we volunteer there a lot. We would play, we just go play acoustic sets during lunch. Because people need a break, and homeless people like music too.
Yeah, exactly.
We just, it was something dear to our heart, and it was something that he was very involved in. He did a lot of fundraising for them and stuff like that. So that was the way that one happened. I can't even remember what's on there. I should probably have it when I'm doing it. It's just from 20 years of randomness. And then those 2 new tracks were, I think, Too Fun for My Health was from right before the pandemic.
Right.
Is a song about, a lot of it's about touring, the vices of life. And, the pandemic in some ways was good, because we even discussed, taking a little hiatus, taking a tiny break from the road, because, we were getting a little bit burnt out. And so it was not the break I was looking for, but, it happened, and there were silver linings. It was really good for our family to be together. Us and our kids got so close.
Exactly.
And we got to spend all that time with our 3-year-old who, was going to daycare part-time before the pandemic. She wasn't really ready for that.
Right.
And we didn't realize it until she was home, and we were like, oh my God, she's so much happier and well-behaved. And all those things she was worried about are gone. And now she's just, herself. And so, that was another good thing. Our older kid really missed his friends, and that sucked.
Yeah.
We did a lot of playing in the backyard outside with people.
Good. Yeah, that's important. That's very important. Some of my favorite tunes, Vibration, Bam, Bam, Bam.
That was a good one.
That was awesome. Little Miss Impossible, Little Miss Complicated, Little Miss Overrated. Love the lyrics. I love the way you come up with the lyrics. Like, they're great.
That was actually written by friends of ours called Patent Pending. They're a band out of Long Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, Little Miss Impossible. Yeah, Little Miss Impossible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that one's patent pending, and that one is off a compilation because we were going out on tour with Bowling for Soup and Patent Pending in the UK. So we did a split
Gotcha.
album. So
Yeah.
that was a cover of their song that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to go to a Comic-Con
I know.
and play Be My Leia and dress up like Star Wars. You got to dress up like Leia, you know?
That would be pretty fun.
That would be.
Yeah,
Listen to
was
the,
written for the fan.
I want to tell everybody about the lyrics. I don't fly. I'm not a hunk, and I'm not indebted to Jabba the Hutt. Don't have a ship or any droids unless you count my cardboard C-3PO. How did you come up with that, man?
That was Lewis.
Oh, that was
That,
Lewis, really?
yeah. I was
Yeah,
in my early days of my first pregnancy,
right.
and we had an acoustic album that we were writing, and I think he did most of that one because honestly, I don't really know Star Wars. I think we did like it. He doesn't really either. So it was a lot of Googling, and
Right,
that
right.
one was it was a request from a fan for his wife,
Is that right? Really?
and she's from Boston. Not
Uh-huh.
all.
Yeah.
So like so a lot of it was from we asked for a few sentences, and so he gave us a little bit about them, and then we had to look up a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff, and yeah, Lewis is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the word stuff is it's just
Awesome. It's
yeah.
awesome the way you guys put the words together. Valentine's Day. That was a cool song.
Oh yeah,
Who wrote that?
that's one of the first ones we ever wrote.
Hmm.
It was me and Lewis. I don't know if we wrote that one with Josh, our first bass player. I think it was just me and Lewis, and it was, it was we wanted it to be kind of a girl group
Hmm.
rock song,
Hmm.
a little bit more like My Boyfriend's Back
Right.
kind of thing, and yeah, but more violent.
Yeah, a little bit. When we
But
first met, you sent off M80s in my heart.
yeah,
I like that. That's the punk side of you coming out. Nobody else. I love your voice on that one.
oh, nobody else. That must be like a demo on there or something.
It's
I
a
don't remember.
yeah,
We
alt version is what
Yeah,
it's
we
called.
had 3 days to
Hmm.
put that together, by the
Really?
way. Yeah. So I already, I mentioned how during COVID we didn't do a ton of writing, but
Right.
we really wanted to put out an album.
Hmm.
And so we're like, all right, let's just do the B-sides and rarity one. It's been 20 years. We've got to have stuff laying around.
Yeah.
And so a couple of the songs on there are B-sides we recorded when we were doing Daydream Explosion for Wicked Cool Records.
Right.
So we reached out to Wicked Cool and we were like, hey, would it be cool if we use these B-sides? And they're like, yeah, sure, of course. But you want to put it out through Wicked Cool? And we were like, well, yeah, but we really want to have it in time for Christmas.
Hmm.
So Dennis Mortensen, who runs Wicked Cool and Underground Garage, he was like, give me a couple minutes, I'll call you back. And so he calls Lewis back. He's like, we can do that, but you've got to have it turned in. I think he said end of day on Monday. And it
Yeah.
was Thursday.
No pressure.
And so there was no sleep that weekend. We came up with like Lewis was just like searching all the hard drives we could find that would turn on. It was crazy. We had to pick which songs we were going to use because we still have a whole bunch more. Pick what songs we were going to use. Then Lewis had to remix a bunch of them. We had to beg for it to get mastered in time. We had to ask the guy who does a lot of our artwork. His name
Mhm.
is Stefan. He runs S-Spam, which is also a record label in Austria.
Oh,
We're like, is there anything you have that will work for Down the Rabbit Hole that we can have by Monday, full double CD package? And somehow he made it happen. Like it was kind of a miracle.
hmm.
I have no, it's still a blur. I can't even remember what's on there. Yeah, that was on an album. But yeah, it's the alternate version.
The cover tunes. You got Breed, which is a Nirvana song. You guys do a great version of that. You did Stay, Lisa Loeb. I love that song. A
Oh, yeah.
punkish version of that song. That's great. That was incredible.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. Our friend Jarrett from Bowling for Soup.
Right?
Three people told us that we needed to cover that song,
Hmm.
and And so we were like, all right, fine, we'll do it. I think it was an anniversary of that song. That's how
Yeah.
Breed we did for the 20th anniversary of Nevermind.
Right. Right.
Sometimes there'll be like something coming up. And we're like, hey, let's just put out a cover and mention it
Sure.
because it was important. And Lisa Loeb, of course, a very important singer-songwriter in my early guitar playing
Oh
years.
yeah.
And Jewel, like I
And
love,
Joel, I was just going to mention Joel.
yeah,
Yeah. That was a good era. That was a good era.
so good.
Yeah. Ruby Soho, Rancid. That was another good tune.
Yep, we grew up on Lookout Records, so
Yeah.
I had to do that one.
High
It
School
was
Never
hard
Ends, Bowling
not
for Soup.
to
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They taught us how to tour. We lived in their tour bus and toured with them for a number of years, and so they're like our rock and roll big brothers.
You know what the big hit would be?
Huh.
This cover, Walking on Sunshine, would be the big hit because it hasn't been out there for a while. It's positive. I love the
Yeah,
way you sing it. If Top 40 was only normal again, that would be at the top of the charts.
would be a good one. That one is.
Yeah.
We recorded that one for our friend Drew Carey. It's actually Drew Carey's favorite song in the world.
Drew Carey, really? How'd you meet Drew Carey?
Our drummer was playing a drum kit on The Price is Right, and so
Right.
he was allowed to bring two people to the taping. And so Lewis and I were the only people that didn't have jobs to go to, I guess, that day. And we went with him and we wore DoLLyROTS shirts. And so if they invited him to bring his guests back to meet Drew.
Very
And
cool.
so we walked up to Drew and we were wearing DoLLyROTS shirts and we gave Drew a CD and a shirt. And he like looks at it and he looks at us and he's like, no effing way, you're the DoLLyROTS. And we're like, because we were like, oh my God, it's Drew Carey. He's like, can you take a picture? And he's like, would you come back and play on The Price is Right? We were
Oh
like,
my gosh.
the two bands do that. And so we did. We actually went back and we were a showcase showdown thing. And it was awesome. The person didn't win a Mercedes or our stuff, but it happened. You know, it was a full backline too. It was a really cool Gibson guitar. I don't know where it ended up, but yeah. Anyway,
That's awesome. Yeah.
Drew is now an old friend.
Yeah. Very cool. DoLLyROTS fan. Wow. That's great. You do Run Run, the oldie. You're talking about all the oldies by the Crystals. And of course, you do the Ramones. I want to be sedated.
Yeah.
I had Joey Ramone on my show, and he blasted me because I didn't play enough Ramones. He said, why didn't you play Ramones when you were in top 40? I said, it wasn't on the playlist, you know, because that's when the Ramones were big back then. So, but yeah, you do a great job with the Ramones tune.
Yeah. That's how we learned to play.
That's a fun band to play, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good when you're just learning because it's so straightforward.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not rocket scientist,
No.
stuff. It's easy to play punk. If you know a few bar chords, that's all you need to do, especially the Sex Pistols.
Brilliant songwriting also.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Never mind the bollocks. It's such a good album.
Yeah, it is. Earth Angel, you do. Dancing with Myself, the Billy Idol tune. That was cool. That was a good choice.
Love that one. He liked that one. We saw him post on social media. He's like, if you live long enough, things like this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And like posted it. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, it's terrifying. Sometimes people like it, sometimes they don't. So
Yeah. And you got a track on there that's my wife and I's one of our favorite songs, Do You Love Me?
Oh yeah.
We do that with each other all the time. Do you love me? I got to play it for her. She hasn't heard it yet. She hasn't heard your version yet.
It was the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, which was a pretty big musical influence on me.
Yeah, yeah.
Great songs on that.
I love your taste in music. It's my taste in music. Talk to me about the new album. What's going to be on it?
Well, we are about halfway there.
Okay.
So, we've done a lot of the writing I don't remember what the subject matter is because we do all the writing after the kids go to bed.
Right.
So, it's between like 11, like 10 or 11 and 2 or 3 in the morning. And
Right.
I got my radio show 5 days a week at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's cool.
Yeah, my brain's tired, but yeah, we've got a really great start. I think it's going very well. We also just recorded a couple songs with Stevie Van Zandt. We were just on tour in the Northeast, and so we went into the studio with Jeff Sainoff. He was engineering,
Right.
and Steve came in and produced a couple tracks. And so we've got those two. I don't know if those will be a 7-inch before the album comes out. We just have a loose plan right now.
Right.
Ideally, release it in the spring before our March tour next year, 2023. So
Are they all original tunes, or do you have any covers on that?
So far it's all originals, but we like
Okay.
to put one cover out there. So, I'm not sure what it'll be. I think I do know what it'll be, but I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
We haven't recorded
Surprise.
it. Yeah.
Your radio show, do you have guests, celebrity guests and that kind of thing?
No, it's a morning show. It's
Okay.
just me solo, playing music, talking about it.
All right.
The format on Underground Garage is a little bit different because, Stevie likes to use rock and roll to teach history, to,
Right. Right.
to delve into, the world a little bit. And so
Yeah.
all of us DJs, we talk about every song that we play. And so it's a 4-hour show. I guess it's usually about, an average of 80 songs a day.
Wow.
And so I give at least 2 or 3 facts about every song
Good.
that I play. And so it's a lot. My friend Tom Calhoun does a lot of the research for me, like almost entirely at this. And so he does that, sends me an outline, and then I just kind of wing it from the outline. And then, it's a little bit of just me talking about my life and experiences, a little bit of rock and roll history, talk about my chickens, whatever they're up to that morning, my children, or just kind of like this,
Yeah. Radio's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of conversational, but I have to remind myself there are a lot of people listening because I'm kind of talking to myself a lot of the time. And it's wonderful, but people seem to like it. So
yeah, I had to do an 8-hour show. My last gig was at WNAV in Annapolis, which is now owned by Pat Sajak. He bought the station. But I had to run the AM side, top 40, and the FM side, beautiful music, at the same time because it was automated.
Wow.
I would run back and forth, and there was nobody to help me. I was the night guy, It was crazy.
Oh.
Good old days of radio.
Yeah.
You got some touring, some dates coming up. You're going to go back in October. Is that in Santa Cruz? Is that right? Is that your next gig?
Yeah, we're doing a California run in October.
Right.
That's all on the books right now.
Okay.
We're booking the March tour probably next. We just had to get our bearings after doing all the summer touring. But we typically do a March tour that goes from Chicago kind of across toward the Northeast. Then we do a summer tour of the Northeast and Texas. Not doing Texas in August.
No.
Next year, telling you that was just brutal.
Yeah.
I think I still have a heat headache, and I've been home for a couple days now. It was so hot, and there was no relief. Like it was insane. I don't know how they do it. And I live in Florida, but sorry that it's not a better, easier heat.
Yeah.
No, I felt like I was in an oven cooking. It was nope. So maybe we'll do Texas in the early summer.
What about Florida? What are you gonna do in Florida?
Yeah, I always forget about it.
I know you always forget about Florida.
But we will oftentimes start our Easter in Florida, and we'll usually end in Tampa. We'll take off from here, play Atlanta, and then go up to Boston, and then we'll end in Tampa. We didn't do it this year because gas prices were crazy.
Right.
COVID is still raring. I actually got COVID on the last day of that tour.
Really?
We had to cancel our last show. I was quite sick.
Oh.
So I recovered just in time to go to Texas. Still not quite right, it sucks. It's our second time getting it too, but I mean, if we're gonna be a band, I guess it's just expected that we're gonna get it over and over again now. So whatever, we're vaxxed, boosted, trying to do our best.
I want to see you guys live, man. I'm thinking maybe Janice live. You know, that's probably a good venue for you, right?
Awesome. Yeah, we like Ybor.
You like Ybor? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, a lot of our core fans and friends are on this side of the bridge. You know, that bridge so far away. It seems.
I know. I know.
It really isn't, but it feels like it. You know, going to St. Pete to back and forth to Tampa, I don't know. It just seems so far.
You're such a Floridian, you know that? We say that about Sarasota and Bradenton now, which is crazy.
That's silly.
You know? Yeah. And I'm originally from DC. You know, I used to go to Georgetown, Virginia, all over the place, but now it's different. I don't know what it is, you know? It's a big deal. I want to mention you guys have been on you did a Kohl's commercial, which is cool. You were on CSI. You were on an episode of CSI.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was really, really fun. It was a cold interview. Hold on one second. I have another interview at 3, so I'm just letting you know.
Okay. All right. We can wrap it up.
So yeah, the CSI thing, we were on a new publishing deal, and our guy John Anderson, he was like, "Hey Kelly, there's an open call for female bass players. You want to go do this audition?" And I was like, "Sure, Johnny, it's never going to happen though." He's like, just go do it." So I go to, I guess it was CBS. I go to the studio. I pull up in the tour van. I'm wearing jeans and a tank top, same as today. And wearing my Converse. I've got my bass guitar, and I see all these hot actress chicks lined up. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so not gonna get this. It's not gonna happen." You know, they're dressed in thigh-high boots and mini skirts. And I was like, "Nope, this is not it." And I get in there and I do my audition. I played my bass and sang, even though my bass wasn't plugged in or anything, but I didn't know what else to do. And so on the way home, I gave them a DoLLyROTS CD. I was like, "Hey, I'm an actual musician. I'm not an actress. Here's my music, and my band would be happy to do it." I didn't know how things worked, and so I didn't place any limitations on myself. And I was like, "It'd be really cool if you picked some of the songs if I have to do this." And so then on the way home, they called me. And I mean, not even 10 minutes later, I got in the van and I picked up my phone. They're like, "Would you be willing to do this with somebody else on drums, playing a couple other songs that we had selected?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess, but I'd really rather at least be our songs. It could still be that other drummer, because my drummer can play guitar, no problem." And they're probably like, "What the hell?" And they're like, "All right, we'll call you back." And then they called back 30 minutes later and they're like, "All right, we'll do that." And
Very
so
cool.
They picked 2 DoLLyROTS songs, let our drummer pretend to be a guitar player. And the actual drummer, her name is Shelly Cole. She was in Gilmore Girls and a bunch of teeny bopper shows at the time.
Yeah.
She was the murderer. My bass was the murder weapon. And, I actually got a co-starring credit.
That's funny.
The whole band's in the episode. You can watch it. It's CSI New York. The episode is called Stuck on You.
Okay, I'm going to look it up.
It's funny. It's wild.
Mark my words, Hollywood's going to come after you. They're going to want you to be on a few shows.
We'll see.
You got you remind me a little bit too of Anna Faris.
Yeah.
Right? A little bit. You got time for the last question or no?
Let's do it.
Yes or no? Okay. I ask this question to everybody. I get some very interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to perform or collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
I get to play at the Field of Dreams. I'm a huge baseball fan.
Yeah, me too.
Look, it's Dodger Stadium behind me.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. Oh, gee, I don't know. That's a weird one. I've gotten to do so many things with people that I really, really love
Mm-hmm.
and look up to. And I mean, I did get to just do music with Stevie Van Zandt. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
I guess
Yeah.
if it's somebody, I mean, God, we'd love to tour with Green Day, obviously, write some
Mm-hmm.
music with them. But I think I would have to say Paul McCartney. I mean, still haven't met him. I almost got to when they were just playing in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to just sit in a studio or a room,
Yeah.
even just presence would be kind of cool. He changed rock and roll, you know, with the
Yeah.
Beatles, and I would love to meet him, you know, and Ringo, of course.
I get that answer a lot, of course. Good answer. But you
It's
said
a
Green
rock
Day.
show,
Yeah.
you know? It's like who are the most influential, important rock musicians that are still here right
Yeah,
now?
that's true.
It took my life.
Yeah.
It's like Ron Carter's gone, you know, and so it really it has to be Green Day and the Beatles, really.
Yep. All right. Good answer. I want to say very special thanks to Dana Gordon of Indie Music Media for arranging this interview with the DoLLyROTS. Purchase the DoLLyROTS' latest album, Down the Rabbit Hole. It's available. It's on Amazon.com. I guess that's the easiest way to get it.
You can find us.
Yes, and of course you got Alone Again Naturally is out, and and that's not even all. Both of those are out. You can stream the single. I guess you can go to your website and find that, or Amazon.com. Yep.
Yeah, from Cleopatra. It's a really cool
Cleopatra.
7.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys are official website, www.thedollyrots.com. You're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you so much for being on the show today. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, man. We love you.
Thanks so much.
And don't forget about Florida for concerts. Bye-bye.
Take
care. Thank you.